Please remember to click the like, subscribe and the notification bell. It really does help Tea with a Tally to keep theatre alive.
It's not time to make a change. Just relax, take it easy. You're still young, that's your fault. There's so much more you have to know. Find a girl, settle down if you want.
Good evening, Mr. Sterling.
Good evening, Miles.
Will you be dining with us this evening, sir?
Perhaps later. I have a guest joining me, so I'll be in the lounge.
Of course, sir. Your usual seat by the fireplace.
Perfect. Thank you, Miles.
May I get you something from the bar?
A whiskey, please. Neat, with ice.
Very good, sir.
Excuse me.
Good evening, sir.
Evening. I'm here to meet Edward Sterling. He's expecting me.
Very good, sir. Right this way. Your guest has arrived, Mr. Sterling.
Thank you.
May I get you something to drink, sir?
Pint of lager, please.
I'm afraid we only serve bottled lager, sir.
That'll be fine.
Very good, sir.
Good evening, Robert. I'm so very pleased you agreed to this meeting. You are looking well.
I feel well, if a little apprehensive, sir.
You can forget the sir nonsense. I am still your father.
I think you ceased to be my father 13 years ago.
You know that's not true. But let it pass. For the moment. Please sit down. You had no trouble finding the place?
A private members club doesn't exactly stand out like McDonald's, but GPS will find most things.
GPS?
Sat nav to you. Although I suppose you now have a chauffeur to take you wherever you need to go.
I drive myself. I just thought this club would be more central for us to meet.
The Red Lion would have done me.
This is quieter. I can't bear public houses nowadays with indistinguishable music blaring at you from every angle.
Your whiskey, Mr. Sterling. And your lager, sir.
Cheers.
Thank you, Miles. I don't ever recall seeing anyone drink lager in here.
You'd see plenty in the Red Lion.
I don't doubt it.
All right, cut the small talk. What's this about, father?
Straight to the point, I see.
After 13 years, I don't see any reason to sit here telling you what's been happening in my life. And I'm well aware of your rise to fame in legal circles through the front pages of the newspapers.
My rise to fame, as you put it, was purely due to the media's attention to the case I was defending.
The battered wife and her murdered husband. Quite a sensational trial.
The woman was driven to the point of desperation by her abusive husband. She had no alternative but to defend herself as he attacked her for the last time. The jury were right to acquit her of murder.
And you were the hero of the day.
Robert, I didn't ask you to meet me to discuss the intricacies of British law.
Well, I can't think what else there is to talk about. You walked out of my life and your marriage when I was 8 years old. End of story.
But there were so many reasons.
Reasons? What possible reasons are there for a father to abandon his wife and child with no explanation?
I couldn't explain it to you. You were too young. How could you have understood?
I could have understood when I was 12. I could have understood when I was 16, 18. But nothing, not a word in all those years, until now.
Please, lower your voice.
Why? Don't you want your precious club friends to hear the truth about your life outside of the courtroom?
The truth is a complicated thing.
You sound as if you're addressing the jury.
I'm addressing my son, in the hope he will listen and understand.
What is there to understand? You walked out on us, abandoned your only son.
For your own good, for your safety.
My safety.
Yes. If you'll just give me some time, I will tell you everything.
I've waited 13 years. What's a few more minutes?
Would you like another drink?
No, thank you. I want to keep a clear head for this confession.
Perhaps it is a confession, but at the end I hope you will give me a fair verdict.
Proceed, counsellor.
You may not know, but your mother and I met on the night I was celebrating winning my first case. My younger brother, your Uncle George, introduced us. Although there was quite a difference in our ages, she was only 19, well, for me it was the proverbial love at first sight. Sarah was a free spirit, a breath of fresh air, who loved socializing and partying. We were married, and within a couple of years, you were born. I was overjoyed to have a son, and I doted on you. Perhaps too much, because Sarah started to resent the amount of time that I spent with you.
I find that hard to believe. Why would Mum resent something so natural?
I had no idea. But life was changing very quickly for the both of us. I was beginning to take on more and more cases, while she was left to run the house and look after you. Sarah missed her friends and the lifestyle she was so used to. Resentment started to manifest itself in her. She criticized everything I did, accused me of ignoring her and devoting whatever time I had to you. If I was late home because I was working on a case, she would start berating me, using the most appalling language. I knew that she hated being tied to the home, but I needed to work to provide for both of you.
This is my mum you're talking about. The woman who gave me the best years of her relatively short life. You do know she passed away 6 months ago.
Yes.
She suffered terribly. A brain tumour, inoperable, so they told us.
My brother George kept me informed of everything that happened with you both.
He's been more of a father to me than you ever were.
I know he has, and I wish things could have been different. But I've only told you half the story.
All you've told me is what I already know. That my mum raised me single-handedly, receiving no support from you.
That's not true.
I don't mean financial support, I mean emotional.
People suffer emotions in many different ways.
What do you mean?
Do you imagine I never felt anything leaving you?
Then why did you?
That's the reason for meeting you today. I wanted to tell you everything. I couldn't do it before, as I knew it would have had a devastating effect on you. I couldn't take that chance during your years of growing up.
I don't understand.
You were doing so well at school, and then a place at university. I couldn't take the risk of telling you all the facts surrounding my leaving. You needed to focus on your academic career and not have your mind confused with an emotional upheaval.
What upheaval? All I know is you left me, an 8-year-old kid in the care of a single mother.
Of a woman who continually abused me and terrorized me for years.
What bloody rubbish. I don't believe you.
It's true, Robert. I've not spoken about it until now. No one knew at the time, not even your uncle. I was too ashamed, too embarrassed.
But how could someone like my mum abuse you? She was the kindest, most loving person.
Outwardly, I agree. But if I said or did anything she didn't like, the change was immediate. At first, it was just shouting and swearing. Then it turned physical, hitting and punching. One day she was in the kitchen when I came home very late from the office. Myself and a colleague had been working on a particularly difficult brief, and I hadn't had time to call. The dinner was ruined, and when I walked in, she flew into a violent rage. Beside her on the cooker was a pan of boiling water. I saw her lift it, and the next thing I knew, my arm was burning with pain. I put my hand out to stop her, and my arm took the full force of the scalding water.
This is bullshit.
I'll show you. Look.
Oh my God. You skip the colour.
Over the years, the tissue has partially grown back, but the scars will be there forever.
I'm finding this very hard to believe. Why didn't I know about... I must have heard you arguing.
You were staying over at your cousin's. It was his 11th birthday, I think.
I remember. I came home and the next day your arm was in a sling.
I'd gone to A&E and they treated and dressed it. I told you I'd hurt it in an accident at the office.
This is too much to take in.
You see why I couldn't say anything at the time. It would have destroyed you. You idolized your mother.
Couldn't she have had any treatment?
I'd suggested that, but she was in total denial. To everyone else, we were the perfect family. But on her own, she tried to control everything I did. And she continually attempted to keep me from you. I was weak. I was also scared that if you heard or saw what she was doing, it would have left untold mental scars on you. I couldn't let that happen. I loved you too much. So I made the decision to leave before you became aware of what was happening.
Mum and I went to visit Grandma for a few days. And when we got back, you were gone.
I knew if I left while you were there, the raging would start and you would see everything. So I took advantage of you both being away, packed my things, and disappeared from your life.
I always thought it was another woman.
There has never been another woman. I loved your mother deeply. That's why it was so painful to leave. But I had to think of you.
I grew up hating you for what you'd done to me.
And every single day, I have questioned my actions. But I did it for you. I had to protect you. Sarah's moods and anger were getting worse, and there was nothing I could do for the fear of her lashing out and you witnessing it.
I guess, thinking back, there was a change in her after you left. She was fine with me, but if anyone said anything to upset her, she'd fly at them, accuse them of not supporting her. Quite a few of her friends stopped calling. If it hadn't been for Uncle George, I don't know how things would have turned out.
I knew George would always be there. My younger brother was forever turning up with presents. It's a wonder he never settled down and had a family of his own.
Surely he must have known what had happened.
While you were at university, I did confide in him, but made him swear he would keep the truth from you. I knew how well you were doing it and didn't want anything to interfere with your studies. I waited for the right time to tell you everything.
But all those school trips, my university fees, Uncle George paid for everything.
Did he?
You mean?
I told him that whatever you wanted, you could have.
This is too much to take in. I always wondered how Uncle George could afford to look after us the way he did. A garage mechanic doesn't exactly earn a fortune.
Not like a barrister, you mean?
Mum just kept telling me we were comfortable on the allowance you sent every month.
And that was fine by me. The less you knew at the time, the better.
But when she got ill, didn't you think you should have come back?
To do what? Sarah had the best care and attention. I made sure of that. My presence would only have added to her pain.
But what about me? What about my pain? Why didn't you come back for me?
We had so many years to catch up. It would have divided your time and you needed to be with your mother. But throughout the years, I've watched you grow, followed your education and made sure I witnessed the important moments in your life. When you became captain of the school cricket team, your achievements at university, your recent graduation.
You were there.
One of the proudest moments of my life.
So, what happens now?
That's for you to decide. Whatever the outcome, I will go on supporting you in everything you do.
And Uncle George? He has been such a large part of my life. I can't turn my back on him.
And I would never expect you to.
He's done so much for me.
I know.
And he was always there for Mum.
I know.
I think I need to be on my own. I need to make sense of everything you've told me. It's too much to take in all at once.
I understand.
Can I see you? Can we meet again when I've had time to think?
Of course.
And I need to talk to Uncle George.
Yes, talk to George.
In one short evening, everything I knew, everything I thought I knew, has been turned upside down.
I can understand how you must be feeling. I mean, I've agonized over how to explain things to you, wondering when would be the best time, the best way.
You have been right about one thing. I couldn't have coped with all of this when I was younger.
No,
We're thinking along the same lines. Like father, like son.
like father, like son.
I'll call you. I don't know when, but I will call you.
You can reach me anytime, whenever you're ready.
Goodbye then.
Goodbye, Robert.
Good night, sir.
Night.
Can I get you anything, Mr. Sterling?
No, thank you.
Was that a relation of yours, sir?
Yes, he's my son.